What I wanted to do with Deep Roots was go beyond what we see in the news. All too often we read one headline, read one Instagram infographic, and all of a sudden we're experts. Nobody can be an expert after 5 minutes though. Afghanistan alone is over 2,500 years of history with the West. My goal with Deep Roots in this event was to give everyone a look inside not just what happened, but who it happened to. We fight these battles from all different sides, but at the end of the day, we share the same humanity no matter where we watch the war from.
For me, just seeing how serious they were about trying to protect their country and about their jobs and doing what they could do with what they had was super impressive, and for me, that was my aha moment.
When I got to Eastern Afghanistan, we found out that a military coup took place in Kabul, and the communists fought the nationalist government in Afghanistan overnight, and eventually they succeeded.
For scholars of the Middle East, and those of us that study political violence in particular, we think about Afghanistan as what we call a fragile state. So it's a state that has some common ethnic or national identities. At one point in history, it had kingdoms and a legitimate central government. It was never really liberal or democratic. But there's a sense of Afghan nationhood.
The American populace sees this much of what's truly happening, right? But really, it's so much bigger than that. And to think that you know what's going on based off this small thing that you may have read or you saw on TV, it's ignorant.
It was a fear, and I didn't expect that I will be alive anymore. And the only things I could think it was to find a place to keep myself safe. But I was more worried about my mom's because she's keep calling me, "Where are you?"
You guys want to introduce yourselves to each other really quick, kind of tell each other a little bit about yourselves?
Hey, I'm Jonathan Dixon. I deployed probably like 2.5 years ago, and been in the Army for about 10 years.
Hi, this is Marissa Fanyuzi, and I'm from Afghanistan.
Yeah. How long you been here?
4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years.
Oh, sorry, 4 or 5 months.
Months?
Yeah.
Wow, so that's pretty recent.
Yeah.
Man, I can't imagine coming from a culture your whole life and then popping over somewhere you've never been before with a whole new culture. How was that?
And here was so different for me. Everything was so different than Afghanistan.
If you could describe your experience from being in Afghanistan in one word, what would that word be?
Wow. That's a hard question, just to describe it in one word.
It's hard to put it in one word.
Man.
Amazing.
Curiosity.
Eternal.
Awesome.
Life-changing.